Alright, here we go. We are loaded into the game, and on the north side of the map we've got Jerimuno playing as the British in the color blue, and then on the south we've got Yoqpasa playing as China in the color green, this kind of ugly green color, at least in my opinion.
Really? You don't like green?
I just don't like this green. It's too neon.
This is my third choice for color. If I can't have teal and I can't have orange, I go for green.
Right.
But I'm weird, I guess.
Yeah. So these players are pretty close in PR here, right? You have the match notes there.
I think in terms of PR, Yoqpasa is around 31, Jerimuno is around 35, but
okay.
I think Yoqpasa has... I think he's a little bit better than that. So I'd say they could be quite close in skill. Yoqpasa also, Yoqpasa has a really good record in the early stages of tournaments, whereas I think Jerimuno is a little bit less consistent in that regard.
Yeah, so
definitely interested to see how this plays out.
With the llama game over here, I would say Jerimuno is defying our expectations here. It looks like he's going to pick up 4. Assuming he scouts this last one right here. He must have scouted that, right?
Surely, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty even llama split looks like.
But
a native scout going to be going down for Yoqpasa, and you definitely can't complain about that. And of course, Jerimuno just taking the time to make sure that all those llamas get escorted home safely, not getting stolen.
Especially with that native scout around.
Exactly, yeah. And something you could do when you're playing as a civ with 2 scouts in this map is just completely forgo the llamas on your side, send 1 scout to the middle of the llama patch, and then send your other scout all the way to that little corner behind your opponent's base and hope that he just paths his llamas through there aimlessly. So good on Jerimuno to make sure that possibility is covered, because losing those llamas really does suck.
Yeah, Jerimuno picking up a 60 food here. And now going for the 30 food as well.
Looks like my sound might be a little bit low.
Okay. I am turning Mitoe up a bit, so let me know how that goes, if that gets too loud. China over here picking up a 90 food treasure. So they've both picked up at least 90 food. Oh, Yoqpasa had another 70 food as well, and the scout. So Yoqpasa doing quite well on treasures, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just part of the freedom of having that extra scouting unit, so he can afford to be more active on the treasures, and he also didn't have to scout or escort his llamas back, rather.
Right.
And that's going to be really nice for him. He gets to place his wonder around 310, which is about 20 seconds early for China, I would say, without eating the goat as well. So it's definitely looking to be in a good spot. Now switching villagers over to gold. So I imagine we are going to be seeing sort of that standard fast fortress style out of China. And 4 men are coming down for Jerimuno. So looks like he's definitely anticipating the standard play from China, and will be trying to be aggressive to sort of compensate for that.
Right. So it sounds like you were quite low. I have turned you up quite a bit now, so hopefully that is good.
All right.
This market went down during transition. I was not watching that.
I am looking for a market.
For Jerimuno.
Yeah, must have gone down during transition. It's
right.
a good spot, too, in this choke point, covering any potential raids that might come through here at some point in the game. China's not a raid-heavy civ, but it's still good to have that choke covered, especially when you're playing a civ like Brit, where you have a lot of villagers that burn through the resources really fast and potentially be really exposed later on.
Jerimuno putting down a very forward stable here with 2 vills and his outpost.
Okay.
this is a little bit vulnerable, maybe to like a 9 pike shipment or something, but I mean, as we can see, Yoqpasa is probably not going to be going for any military shipments or anything like that right away. So that's just going to be some really fast SARs into the base.
Right. Do you think he'll have to call his Minutemen to deal with that?
Could. Yeah, I think he probably will. But he's also got these 3 disciples and this Hummingka. So
Yeah.
Shouldn't be in too bad of a spot.
Quite good, and should have a Summer Palace batch popping at some point.
Yeah, it usually takes about 2 minutes, I think, to train a banner army from there, unless he randomly switched it, which I imagine he probably didn't. So
Yeah.
it should be here probably within the next 60 seconds, which will definitely help him deter any future pressure.
And only 4 Hussars out in that first batch.
Yeah, and that's because he aged up with the tower. It's at similar wood as his first
Right.
start, so not as many resources available to him at the start, and having to spend villager seconds gathering the wood crates and then constructing additional banners as well, just sort of slows down that first batch of SARs, and a little bit on the second batch as well. I imagine he won't be able to get 5 either. But his follow-up will be quite good to this, so I imagine he'll be able to either age up or drop some Raxes down pretty soon. And there's the Wander for Yoqpasa.
Yep, no Vills going down, so I think I would say he's quite happy with this so far. Done well to chase off these Hussars.
Seems like I'm still a little bit low.
You're still a little bit low? Okay.
Sounds like there's also an echo on, for me apparently, on the stream at least. I don't know if it's coming through for your audio. I don't know if you know how to fix that.
No, that is just the stream apparently. Yeah, I'm not sure about the echo.
I know Dualcrad has that same issue. I'll message him and see if he can get back to us for later on in the stream. But that being said, the standard army batch does pop out. Not exactly what he wants against the Caesars.
Right.
So he is going to just quickly lose one. Looks like the Shukanu are going to get cleaned up as well. So not the most useful banner army for sure. Is going to call the sentries now to try and buy some more time. Does save that low HP villager. The sentries are going to go down, though there's just too many Hussars. And yeah, this is a little bit rough for him, trying to rush down that consulate now.
Right, and the War Academy in the back.
Yeah, and this consulate is really, really important. Or actually, maybe it's not as important as Yoqpasa thinks it might be. It's really important if there's like a musketeer follow-up or something behind this from British, but just looking at Jerimuno's base, he doesn't have any barracks or anything like that. Looks like he is just maybe going to be following him up to Fortress at some point. And, yeah, so not going to be needing the Redcoat Musketeers all that much.
Barracks going up now at the forward site.
Okay. We'll see what his plan is with that, but he's done a lot of damage with these SRs for sure, forced a lot of idle time, delaying a lot of infrastructure. There's no market or anything down for Yoqpasa just because he hasn't had the time to do so, nor would he have the resources to get the upgrades.
Right.
And
second century batch.
regulars.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, with that second batch coming out, and they're not too good against cavalry, are they? They're more of a...
Yeah, they're definitely not.
Yeah, went down very quickly. This barracks is up. Is he training anything out of that yet? Units in queue. Got one Musk in queue. Oh, Cheng Dao is popping out to take care of these Hussars. And he feels comfortable to... He feels comfortable to put this market up now.
It looks like 6 longbow shipment and musketeers coming from Jerimuno behind this, so he doesn't have any intention of aging just yet. Just going to be trying to follow up this pressure.
Right.
And this is a non-trading post map, so China will have less shipments available to them to try to defend against this colonial British. So this could be good for Jerimuno. We'll have to see. Another standard army popping out from the Summer Palace. Not going to be super useful.
Trying to do a little more damage here, but he's just struggling to get in here against the Vills. Not well, maybe not so much. Taking down a village here. Are you still there, Mitoe?
Yeah, I'm still here. So
okay.
I was just replying to someone on Discord.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to figure out how we can remove the echo for next game.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like this village is going to go down. Yoqpasa definitely in a rough spot here.
Yeah, definitely. Jerimuno is putting together quite a mass here that I haven't seen much come out from for trying to deal with that. 5 disciples coming out.
Yeah, but without another shipment, this is going to be kind of difficult to hold.
Yeah, definitely.
Should have intervention coming soon, though. Those 9 Redcoat Musketeers would be quite strong here. I don't know if he's going to have enough units to really do it with just the Musketeers, though. Yeah, they pop out right in the middle of the army.
Right.
And Bill's popping out too, trying to soak up damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Nope, then there's the GG.
Yeah, so just a lot of pressure from Jerimuno very, very quickly made it very difficult for Yoqpasa to really have an effective defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely his banner army choice, not helping against the Hussars.
No, must not have been expecting that Hussar start.
Yeah, or maybe he just forgot to switch the Wonder or something and then decided it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, didn't want to
did realize or that
delay.
Kind of so either way, Jerimuno is now up 1-0. It is a best of 5, so there's definitely room for comebacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can see a competitive game here. Competitive match, rather. I guess I don't. Alright, so the second map here, do you know what the second map is? Let me look. Going on to Kamchatka, with Florida having been vetoed by Yoqpasa.
Okay. And Jerimuno will have to first pick.
Right.
So Yoqpasa gets his counter pick there, which can help them definitely get back into the series a little bit.
So what civs do you think we're expecting to see here?
I'm really not sure. I don't know a whole lot about Yoqpasa's civ pools. I know he plays like China and Japan, and a little bit of like Germany and maybe Brit and stuff like that. Whereas Jerimuno, Brit was sort of Jerimuno's like favorite civilization recently, I think. And now with that out of the way, he's going to have to play something else. Looks like it is going to be the Japan,
Okay.
which is quite good on this map as well.
Okay,
Yoqpasa could play China again. That's an option available to him, and I think this is quite a good matchup if he does choose to go for that. For the sound...
Yeah, so I'm playing with the sound a little bit right now, and hoping that gets improved. I've turned up the audio in OBS and the desktop audio, and then turned down my mic a little bit, and I turned down my actual headphone audio, which will hopefully resolve the echo issue a little bit.
Okay. Hopefully.
Hopefully. So
Yeah, sadly, Duck seems to be AFK, so he has not responded to me about how he fixes the echoes on his streams.
I think that's definitely the problem, is that I had it quite loud in my headphones because that was the fastest way I could think of to make you louder.
Okay, hopefully that is the case.
So it looks like they're ready to go here on Kamchatka with Germany versus Japan.
All right, Germany versus Japan.
I feel like that's a matchup I don't see that often.
It's definitely a decent matchup. It's a little bit interesting because Germany typically don't want to play super aggressively early on because they'd rather be up in the fortress age, right?
Right.
Where in Japan's like sort of okay with that. They're like, all right, nice. I get like 6 or 7 minutes where I can do like whatever I want. And it's not to say that that Germany can't be aggressive, but they do definitely prefer to be in the fortress age. And just giving Japan a little bit of time there makes it an interesting matchup for sure. It's definitely, I think it still, like, it can go either way. I would maybe still say it's German favored. But depending on how you play it, it could definitely turn into a more macro-oriented game that we don't usually see from a lot of European civs against Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Yoqpasa here going for the center trading post. Potentially, or maybe just treasures out here.
Yeah, it looks like he is just going to be going for treasures. Doesn't have the wood for a trading post. Yeah. There's also these... there tends to be like pretty good treasures that spawn in the middle sometimes, mostly just along the middle portion of this map. But there's always going to be 1 or 2 groups of 2 goats in the middle of the map, which is kind of worth going for anyway. So you kind of walk to the middle, hope there's a good treasure, hope that you get goats as well. And oh, Jerimuno being sneaky, gonna be walking to the entrance of this, knowing that the goat will be sent through this location, and gonna be picking it off. Looks like he might not realize that it hasn't passed through there already. So Yoqpasa might actually get that goat home safely. But this 40 wood will be a nice consolation prize for this monk anyway.
Yeah, I was quite amused that they managed to split that pair of goats.
Yeah. A little bit unfortunate for Yoqpasa, but...
Definitely.
Definitely going to be good for Jerimuno.
Jerimuno, I think, stealing a goat from Yoqpasa there with his monkey on the left side of the map here.
One second, sorry.
Of course.
Alright, sorry. Okay. Where are we? Looks like Jerimuno did actually choose to chop the majority of the wood for that consulate start.
Right.
Which is going to slow him down just a little bit, but it will make his boom quite a bit better.
Yeah. Are you seeing anything particularly interesting in these decks here?
Let me take a look.
They look
Looks like Jerimuno will steal that treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look relatively standard. Yoqpasa has a couple of industrial age cards that you don't always see out of Germany, so he does have the option to sort of go industrial if he really wants to.
That seems good for this matchup.
Yeah, it definitely can be. He doesn't have too much in there, so it would be sort of like a small power spike, but still quite good.
Right.
And on the other hand, he doesn't really have any economic cards, aside from economic theory. Whereas Jerimuno has a few more economic cards than him. So if the game goes late, it'll be probably quite alright for Japan. Although that being said, I guess Germany does have factories and Japan doesn't, so it should be relatively equal in terms of economy maybe in the later stages of the game, especially since Germany can technically overpop on vills a little bit with those settler wagons.
Right.
I don't imagine that it will be going to that point, though, as we do have a forward settler wagon in the middle of the map. And it looks like it might be some sort of tower rush coming out here.
Could be. Do you think that will be particularly effective without a trading post down for Germany?
Well, he is going to be building a trading post anyway, I imagine. Looks like Jerimuno is covering the TPs at the moment with a monkey and one of his monks.
Right.
Just wants to try and harass the explorer a little bit because he knows it's pretty low HP. So he Yoqpasa might just be waiting until he's hit Colonial before he commits to building a TP, and instead he's just going to be grabbing this 50 wood up top, or 85 wood up top rather, getting that forward tower down and all that good stuff. But yeah, I imagine he'll build a trading post at some point.
Yeah, I can't imagine Germany will go a whole game without a trading post. That just can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Germany is considered a really not so great pick on non-trading post maps, and to intentionally not build a trading post on a map that does have trading posts seems a little bit counterintuitive. But I think that Jerimuno, having not spotted that there's a trading post going down, will sort of anticipate this tower, and yeah, he does actually spot it with the monkey, so he is kind of getting a little bit of forewarning on the aggression that could be coming down here.
And there's the barracks going down.
Yep, and let me just take a look at Jerimuno's deck real quick. So he is actually sending 5 Ashigaru as his first card to deal with this pressure, dropping down that barracks with 5 villagers on it just to make sure it's down as fast as possible. So he's definitely setting up to deal with this early 8 bow shipment that just popped out.
Nothing in. Oh yeah, there are 2 crossbows in queue there for Yoqpasa to supplement that.
Yeah, I don't imagine this pressure will be too effective though with that unit shipment coming first for Jerimuno. However, forcing a unit shipment out of Japan is good in general, so he can't complain too much even if he can't really kill any villagers or units. He has to be really careful though walking under the town center. There could be Minutemen that pop out onto this army, and potentially another batch of Ashigaru or Yumi popping up behind this.
What's this Vil doing in his base?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a brave soul. Looks like Jerimuno didn't actually have units in queue for a while there, so he is actually going to lose the Ashigaru here and just barely doesn't have the resources for Minutemen. Okay, Sentry's getting called now. And with the monks, he should be able to clean this up, but...
Yeah, this looks quite good for him.
Yeah, however, losing the 5 Ashi and losing 1 villager here. So definitely, I think Yoqpasa is going to be alright with that trade, and forcing a little bit of idle time as well. So he sort of just traded off his own unit shipment, and maybe a couple more crossbows on top of that to do a little bit of damage. Jerimuno is probably, yeah, looks like he's feeling comfortable enough that he's got 600 wood on the way as his next card. Having dealt with the 8 bow shipment, which is the scariest part of this build order. And unfortunately for Yoqpasa, he also lost his explorer in that
oh yeah,
inside the base there too. So it looks like there isn't actually going to be a trading post coming down unless he chooses to build one with a settler wagon at some point, which he might choose to do with this 700 wood. We'll have to see, but definitely not having that trading post is a rough spot to be in as Germany.
So are you expecting more colonial pressure behind this, or at this point has he done the damage he's going to do in colonial and it's time to move on?
Well, he does have the crossbows moving into the base. I think without a trading post, the option to try and age up behind this is definitely not as good, so I think he's kind of committed at this point to colonial.
Yeah, Pike's in queue now. 6 apparently? Okay, no. Yeah, there were 6 in queue. He is starting the next batch up.
Okay, and that could potentially give him a little bit of pressure on this Wonder on the front side of the base as well. I wonder if he can siege just outside of the range of that town center.
That
would
looks
be
like
quite
it's far
good.
enough to me.
It's right on the edge. I'm not quite sure, but that would be really, really good for him if he could siege that on the max range there without having to worry about that. 5 musketeers coming out for Japan, though.
Gonna push this away for a little bit.
Yeah, with the dwindling massive crossbows here, definitely.
Second rack's down here, right by the outpost though. So, although only 1 crossbow in queue, so hasn't split 2 batches yet, and he's popped. So.
But even though, even though Yoqpasa hasn't like killed a lot of villagers or like killed a lot of shrines. Just the fact that this pressure is here has already sort of forced Jerimuno into shipping 2 military shipments. He sent Heavenly Kami early on, but his shrine population is only around 100, so definitely not getting the value out of that Heavenly Kami that he probably would normally like to get.
Right.
So it's looking okay for Yoqpasa. I think that without the trading post, though, it is still a little bit rough, and I think Jerimuno is aware of that. He's thinking that, yeah, without the trading post, all I have to do is sort of hold on, and Germany's economy will sort of peter off a little bit in the later stages of colonial here. Also adding in a... Yeah. Shinobi are pretty good. Also adding in a stable, so he's got 1 Naginata and Q at the moment, which will be really, really good against this crossbow pike.
Where's that stable at? Oh, in the back.
Just in the back of the base there.
There's 2 full batches of crossbows to augment that. He's probably going to walk back in with that. Although a Nagi batch didn't help deal with that. And the pikes are kind of out back here. Maybe he's going to get caught.
Yeah, he's walking in a little bit far. And the Daimyo popping out as well. Is quite a strong cavalry unit as well. Can soak up a lot of damage. Increases the attack of all of these units as well. Gonna be pulling him back as the pikes get into combat here, though. But the pike's gonna drop really, really fast to these Ashigaros, and I think Yoqpasa's in a little bit of trouble here. He has 10 pikes in queue. They should be popping relatively soon, but without the crossbow mass behind this to deal with the Ashigaro, he's definitely in a rough spot.
Yep.
And yeah, that's just gonna be GG. No trading post and not enough damage done really without the trading post behind it. Sort of leaves Jerimuno in a good spot at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the timeline here. Not too much to speak of going on here about what you expect.
Yeah, pretty straightforward game, I think, this time around. And yeah, Jerimuno takes a quick 2-0 lead in the series.
And this is a best of 5, right? So if Jerimuno takes the next game, that will be it.
Yeah, definitely could be a quick, clean sweep for Jerimuno. Duck is on Discord.
It sounds like, from what I've seen in the chat, that we are good on audio now. So okay. I think we've resolved the echo.
Just listening back to it, I think there is still a little bit of an echo.
A little bit of an echo still.
It doesn't sound like it doesn't really sound bad or anything, but
okay.
Might be worth looking into that after the series or something, though.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of rushed to prepare for this series a little bit.
Yeah, this is your first time streaming on ESOC TV, right?
That is true, yeah. This is my first casting, so...
Fair enough.
Not getting off to the smoothest start in the world, but that is okay. I think they all go that way. I think I did hear a couple donations or subscriptions come in at some point during this series, but I didn't see who they were. So I apologize for missing those, but I don't actually have access to the Streamlabs to see. I just have to catch it on the stream.
Right. Well, thank you very much for whoever may have donated or subscribed. We greatly appreciate it. We'll hopefully be able to give you some call-outs later, or maybe we'll message you on ESOC or something like that.
Yoqpasa says everything has gone as planned, so we'll see what he has up his sleeve for the rest of this series, now that he is down 2-0. Maybe planning to take out Jerimuno's two of Jerimuno's civs. Were those his better civs that he's been playing?
Yeah, British and Japan are 2 of Jerimuno's main civs, I believe.
Well, now he says the plan is getting 0-3 to enjoy my weekend. So
solid planning.
We are on the right map here. Yep, Baja California. Yoqpasa is apparently not too happy with his performance so far. Or maybe planned to be unhappy with his performance so far. Hard to say at this point. So, again, Jerimuno has to pick first again?
Yep, and, what does he play? I mean, he could play something like India. I think that's also his HIV. He plays a fair bit, but not so much in recent memory, at least from my own experience playing against him. He's definitely played mainly British and Japan recently. So he might be, sort of on the verge of exhausting his civ pool. And Yoqpasa might be able to get a good pick, or a good matchup because of that. It looks like it's going to be Sioux.
That could be interesting.
Personally, if I was Yoqpasa, I'd be pretty sad to see that. Sioux, pretty annoying civ to deal with for sure. And I think they're pretty strong at the moment as well, so definitely a good pick from Jerimuno. Okay, but then again, Japan. This has sort of traditionally been a good matchup for Japan. Just because, Sioux being such a mobile civilization, they tend to be quite good at raiding and stuff like that, and applying a lot of pressure in all sorts of different places at once. But against Japan, the type of pressure you want to apply, it tends to be in terms of like sieging down shrines and stuff like that. And Sioux doesn't have the greatest siege in the world, and any other pressure they want to apply has to be directly underneath the town center, at least until Japan leaves their base for gold mines or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a little bit difficult for Jerimuno maybe to deal a lot of damage to Japan in the early stages of the game, which can sometimes lead to Japan getting out of control in the mid and late game.
And this does seem like quite a strong map for Japan, with the water on both sides, and plenty of herds to shrine.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like with all the like cliffs and stuff like that, you can sort of wall off a lot of the choke points against Sioux. As well as make it a little bit difficult for units to path around to those shrines efficiently, so they, have a little bit of a harder time killing a large number of shrines.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are saving a EP recorded game yet again. The most exciting part of this stream.
Indeed. It may also be worth mentioning that there is water on the map as well, and Japan does have some decent water options available to them. They can also just send the 3 boats card, which does make them... It sort of helps mitigate some of their early game weaknesses if they choose to go for that. And Sioux, not exactly a water-centric civ, does have a little bit of trouble applying pressure onto like fishing boats and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks like if we take a look at Yoqpasa's deck, which he's already selected very early in the game, being on top of things... he doesn't have 3 fishing boats in his deck, but he does have the 5 fishing boats cards in his deck, which means he could send those instead of the villagers, which would be good in the sense that they're probably never going to get pressured from Sioux. And they also will help preserve some of the food on his cherry orchards and stuff like that.
Ooh, is Jerimuno going to see this treasure?
Yeah, looks like he is.
Definitely.
Japan could just decide to stop taking this, though. Yeah, okay, yeah. And he is just going to poof away. However, running away does also mean that Jerimuno has the freedom to just take this treasure.
Yeah, and he managed to do that quickly enough that the Grizzly didn't reset and get its health back.
Yeah.
Although neither of them did. The one he converted retained its low health, which I didn't even know they did that. If you converted one that was half dead.
Converted that early enough, I suppose, that that is the case. So that's a little bit unfortunate for Yoqpasa. Maybe he should have stuck around there a little bit. But, trying to win the treasure game against Sioux is always going to be very difficult anyway. Looks like Jerimuno's already spotted the 75 food, or maybe not, actually.
Well,
I'm just trying to look at the fog of war. He's going to be there anyway, yeah, because the Sioux Explorer...
If he turns around...
A really speedy man can scout the map very quickly.
Went right on past that. 3 villagers coming in for Jerimuno. It's no surprises there.
Nope, pretty standard stuff. Nice, Yoqpasa does actually manage to pick up that treasure. So that will make him feel a little bit better about giving up that...
picked it up.
Oh, no, wait, what? Okay. I was wrong. Yoqpasa's going to be feeling pretty bad about that. On the other hand.
Again, no surprises since he didn't have the 3 boats.
Yeah, it was kind of the only option in his deck. And it's pretty alright against Sioux for sure. Sioux, they don't have the greatest rush in the world. And again, they don't have a lot of siege damage either in their army composition, so... Heavy Shrine.
Feeling quite good about his treasure.
Oh man, stealing at treasure again.
Did Jerimuno start that treasure, or did Yoqpasa?
Yoqpasa started it. Oh. Actually, Jerimuno aging a villager early and aging up very fast with the messenger politician, so he's already up at 3 minutes and 10 seconds into the game, which is very, very, very fast.
Right, that is.
And not going to have a military building or a trading post down at the moment, but with that early XP treasure that he got, he is going to be able to send a shipment very fast. Just looking at his population... Just looking at his population right now, it looks like it is probably the 4 Axe Rider shipment, which is going to help him, you know, sort of deny some of these shrines if he wants to sort of look around for the monks. Could also get into Japan's base very early and cause a lot of idle time and grief in that sense.
Definitely seems like a lot of potential with that shipment.
Yeah, and Yoqpasa's already sort of... Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, especially when you've gone heavily Kami. But Yoqpasa's kind of prepared for this. He's dropped a villager onto that gold mine, dropping a couple more villagers onto that gold mine now. He wants to make sure he has the resources available to call those sentries so he doesn't just get destroyed by these 4 Axe Riders, which are going to spot the smug. He's going to teleport away in time. But I don't know if he can run very far.
Yeah, that's not
the Axe Riders are just going to
do anything.
No, the Axe Riders are just going to come hunt him down, but not before killing a villager. Sentries do get called and promptly ignored.
He can just walk away from that.
Yeah.
Getting close to picking up an Axe Rider there.
Yeah, it does get enough damage done on those Axe Riders that...
2 of them are quite low.
He's probably not going to want to stick around there. Actually, 3 forward villagers here as well. And just looking at his resources, looks like he is going to be following up with some sort of war hut pressure.
There it is.
Yeah, there's the war hut. And yeah, this is very, very fast from Jerimuno. And he hasn't really cut a lot of eco to do this either. He doesn't have a trading post, which is maybe the biggest downside, but I imagine he'll probably try to add that with a 700 wood shipment or something.
Japan
at some point soon.
The colonial age more than 2 minutes after Jerimuno.
Yeah, it's gotta feel quite sad about that. Does have barracks coming down now. But what I wanted to say before was, Sioux hasn't really cut a lot of eco behind this because they don't really need all of that wood from the age-up politician, the 400 wood politician, which is the sort of the standard you'd go for if you aren't fast aging.
Right.
They don't really need it because they don't really need houses, right? And aging up fast means you idle your town center for less time. So he actually has, you know, a couple of extra villagers on top of his economy as a result of that fast age. So he's actually in a pretty decent spot economically. Just the downside of not having a trading post is kind of the biggest thing. But with that early XP treasure and the XP he's going to get from fighting might be enough to mitigate that.
Japan cleaning up these bows, but not before the Axe Riders get in here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely looking kind of rough for Japan with those Ashigaru being cleaned up. He sort of just has to hold on until he can get the Bastilleros from the Portuguese consulate. He's about 50 export away, which is a lot of export considering you're getting idled and so you're not generating as much export. But if he does manage to hold on until he can get those bows, he could be in a decent spot here.
He's got a few Ashy in queue again, but there's more bows getting cranked out by the Sioux player over here that I'm not sure how he's going to be able to deal with all those.
Ashigaru, maybe not the greatest answer to these Tanbos. 5 Ashi going to be hopping up behind this.
He's forced 5 Ashi twice in a row here.
Yeah, that being said though, like, Setons aren't very good at kiting because of that long setup animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, just looking at how much damage they do to Musketeers with that 15 times 2 multiplier and that 2 times rate of fire, it's actually really difficult for Ashigaru to effectively deal with these, even in melee. And 7 War Clubs coming in, just lots of pressure being piled on. Still 30 export away from those Bastieros, which would help relieve a lot of the pressure.
That export is just not coming fast enough.
No, he just can't gather with the villagers long enough to generate enough export, right?
Yeah.
And let's see, he has Yumi archers in queue now, so he sort of realized that he kind of needs to adapt to that a little bit.
Trying to get another build, but that setup animation is just not fast enough.
Yeah, and he sent Heavenly Kami as well, but only sitting on 40 shrine population, so he actually hasn't made use of Heavenly Kami at all yet this game.
Unless the regulars coming in.
Yeah, Enlist regulars gonna be buying him a lot of time behind this, and there's still no 5 villager shipment or trading posts or anything behind this for Sioux. So if he can hold on, he might actually still be okay. But I think Jerimuno, if he noticed the Enlist irregulars coming in there, he might just decide, all right, I've done enough damage. I can just sort of sit back now. I can just invest into my economy a little bit, sort of consolidate my lead. And nope,
coming in.
dog soldiers coming out instead. So I'm definitely wrong about that. And it looks like they're just going to be checking the hunts for the moment, just to make sure there's no additional shrines going up. Going to be rescuing the Sioux War Chief as well.
Doesn't look like he's going to find Boning back here.
No, Boning will safely get up the shrine in an unexpected fashion, as is Boning style. Yeah, the Bastieros do come out and promptly get deleted. There are some Yumi archers, but they're
He's
just
struggling to get these built. He had 1 out in his first batch and 3 in the next one, so
yeah,
doesn't have the resources.
This is a rough situation to be in as Yoqpasa. Just looking at even just looking at the economic population, the Sioux, who hasn't invested into his economy at all, is ahead against Japan, which is should never really be the case. So that's pretty unfortunate for him. And yeah, with these more Axe Riders coming out from the stable, I think this might be the end of the game. I just don't see how he can possibly train enough units, or even get out the resources to call like his Minutemen batches.
Shipment, but
yeah, 5 Yumi shipment and a 5 Ashy patch, and Vils being popped, but I don't think it's gonna be enough.
Managed to take down 1 dog soldier there, it looks like, but about it.
Yeah, and there's 5 more Axe Riders coming across the map from the stable.
That makes it a quick series.
I feel like Yoqpasa wasn't greedy enough. He needed to sort of... He gave too much respect to the early 4 Axe Riders, I feel like. And he kind of just needed to spam more shrines, because shrines are sort of the thing that would be the most difficult for Jerimuno to deal with.
Right.
But yeah, no, the 4 Axe Riders managing to deny all of that. I suppose he did kill the 2 monks very early, which made it very difficult to
I think he only got
continue
one of
shrining.
them, but
he got one of them, which is still... Home. Yeah, he killed one like instantly under his town center, still there to this day. And he forced the poof, and then I think... I don't remember if he killed it, actually, when he pushed under the base. Maybe he didn't. You might be right there. But either way, Jerimuno with the quick 3-0 sweep.